Hello everyone, and welcome to Straight Chilling. Each week we watch and review a horror film for your entertainment. You can send all questions and comments to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com, and don't forget to keep chilling.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing. 5 cold feelings on the mind, got you reeling. 5-star ratings from the floor to the ceiling. If you get your 1 star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ, all the 1s and 2s. By the name Elzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all in 2. And prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' crew.
What up, nerds? Welcome to another deadly episode of Straight Chilling. My name is Bob, and I'll be your host for the evening. This is going to be episode number 246, recorded Thursday, December 19th, 2019. Tonight, we're going to be talking about our last Patreon pick of the year. It's going to be Deadly Friend, as chosen by Miles. Thanks for all the love, Miles. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone on the show tonight. First up and last up, calling in from Southern Korea, we got our boy Soju. What's up, man?
What up? It's your boy, Baby Stains.
I love it.
Yes.
Do
you want some more of it?
Yeah, can you?
Do you try so hard?
I'm just...
Do you know what song I'm referencing?
Yeah, but I'm distracting myself because I'm playing bumps. But yes.
The guy, man.
I want some more of it. I try
so hard.
Can't
something above it or something.
Rise above it? Can't rise above it?
Maybe.
I don't know. Who knows? Ain't nobody got time for that. We got a skeleton crew this evening. It's the holidays and everybody's traveling across country, across the world, across state. It's crazy. Everybody's everywhere. Soju is literally after the show going to go to the airport to fly to America. So we had to record this show a little bit earlier than we typically do. So Randy couldn't make it this evening. Sorry to say, but we're talking about Deadly Friend and it's going to be a fucking romp. Strap in. Before we
don't need Randy anyways.
He really just kind of is bogging the show down, I think. This is a 2-seater, not a 3-seater, okay?
Yeah, Randy, you just lost your spot.
We rolling too deep. Before we get into it, let's hit up that housekeeping real quick. So, January poll pick. You only got a couple weeks left to vote on it. If you support us at the $5 level or above on Patreon, that earns you the chance to vote on 3 movies, one of which we're going to talk about next month. The theme of these movies are redemption. It's sort of a re-review. We've talked about all these movies before on previous shows, but we kind of want to have a second crack at them. The movies are Evil Dead 2, Scream, and The Exorcist. Scream is still winning. Last I checked, Evil Dead 2 and The Exorcist are tied for second place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Exorcist got a bump, huh?
It did. Got a little bit of a bumper.
Is it close, Bob? You think it could pull through?
No. I think people would have to change their votes at this point because I think everybody has voted, maybe, or almost everybody. So I think you'd have to go.
Let me just state my case.
Okay.
We were supposed to watch The Exorcist on our 100th episode. It was agreed upon. It was discussed and agreed. There's one night me and Randy couldn't make it. We couldn't make it. It was back when we were still picking our own movies. Bob throws a curveball and has a bunch of guests on. It was Brad and I don't know, just Brad and maybe Tyler was on. Rob picks The Exorcist right under it, pulls the rug right out from under us. I've never let him forget it. This is the redemption.
Always the
when
bad
we covered
guy.
Scream, everybody loved Scream. It has an average 4.8 on our spreadsheet.
Oh my
For some reason, Bob just has to watch it again.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. So change your votes. The Exorcist. That's what we need to talk about.
Hey, the people have spoken. All right.
They'll change, Bob. They'll change. That
You think
a good case I made
they're
against
just your
you.
little puppets? They're just going to do whatever you say? Is that what you think? No.
I think they're my friends, Bob. I think they understand my situation that you've put us in.
It's a very, very tough situation, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
You have any bracket of blood news you want to share?
Dude, we got all kind of bracket of blood news.
Bracket of blood.
Dude, when I'm in town, we're finally going to record a bump for that, even though like round 1 is finished. Bracket of blood. That's our bump. So Haunters, even though we're recording this a little bit early, the Haunters poll has not technically closed yet, but everything's like pretty straightforward on this one. It looks like the winners are going to be Suspiria, Insidious, Sinister, The Conjuring, Evil Dead, The Witch, of course, The Beach, and actually the only one that's tied right now, 36 votes, is Hell House LLC and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So one of those will actually win, and the other one will probably go into the wild card with that high vote. So those are the winners for our Haunters division.
Do you
I
was just gonna ask, do you have all the matches pulled up? Like, what was Sinister against? I'm a little bit surprised out of all the ones you named that Sinister won.
Yeah, I do have it pulled up. Housebound, which I think that one is also gonna go into the probably move into the wild card. We have 4 wild card rounds, so the next highest votes, if they didn't win in their matchup, if they had enough votes, they'll move into like a wild card round that we'll do at the end of the month. But it was against Housebound, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and Oculus. So all good. Like, I think all of those movies are actually great. Oculus is really solid. So yes, but Sinister won like pretty hands down.
Wow, I wonder if people just hadn't seen those other movies quite as much. Like
maybe
Housebound might be kind of hard to hunt down, or just unfamiliar to people. I think that was my vote. Was Housebound. That movie rules.
And honestly, a lot of these were like tough. I feel like this division, there was a lot that I hadn't seen, but I feel like the matchups were pretty tough, but surprising. Like, so Insidious one, I understand like Insidious, like getting a lot of the vote, but it was against The Conjuring 2, Blair Witch, and The Wailing. I mean, that's a stacked lineup. Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah. But you know what's going to be crazy is once we get into round 2, where Suspiria is going against Insidious, which is going against Sinister, which is going against The Conjuring. Like, choosing between those 4 movies, that's going to be...
It's going to get harder and harder.
Real tough. Yep. So that was the Haunters division. Next week are the last round 1 division, which is starting Monday, December 23rd at midnight Eastern Time, is going to be the Macabre division. So this was kind of our like, maybe doesn't fit here, doesn't fit here. This is our division where we kind of put everything else. So there's a little bit of killers in here. There's maybe some haunters. There's like a big mix of everything, but it's our last division for round 1. The movies that are going to be in that division for you to vote on are The Bay, The Cabin in the Woods, Good Night, Mommy, Rubber, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, Gerald's Game, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, The Visit, The Lighthouse, 10 Cloverfield Lane, Apostle, Neon Demon, Us, Hereditary, Unsane, VHS, The Endless, Cheap Thrills, Starry Eyes, Carrie, Raw, Conference, The Ritual, A Cure for Wellness, Mandy, Black Swan, Mother, and WNUF Halloween Special.
That's a lot of good shit. Woo. That's a lot.
It is. Some of these matchups, one like Mandy going against Black Swan, going against Mother, going against WNUF.
WNUF, clear winner.
That is a tough one. Another one that everyone is going to hate us for, Us versus Hereditary.
Yeah,
oh, man. Us versus Hereditary versus Unsane VHS. There's some tough ones in here. I mean, Rubber versus The Bay. I mean, that's how are we going to choose?
Nobody likes rubber.
So this is our last round one division. After that week, we're going to do our wild card round, which is from the previous round one, like the kind of second runner up. And then moving into January is when we'll do the round two. So all the winners from these first round one matchups are going to be going head to head. And that's where it's really, really going to get tough. Our goal, who will be crowned the greatest horror film of the decade? Which movie? So that's where we're head to. We'll be wrapped up probably somewhere. I think it's like mid-February by the time all the rounds kind of count down. So it's going to be tough, Bob. It's going to be tough.
There can be only one winner.
There can be only one. Next week's voting is going to go from December 23rd. It will close Friday, December 27th at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. And that'll be that.
Nice. Get your Christmas time voting in. I like it.
Yeah. In between your apple pies and your pumpkin pies, in between, go ahead and get your voting in. When you're in your food coma waiting to get that pumpkin pie in.
I never have pumpkin pie at Christmas. That's like that's always
really?
Thanksgiving, but like never Christmas.
I think we always maybe have unavailable, but I'll have to check back with you on that. Next week, I'll check in with you on that.
Yeah, we'll see.
What pies?
Yeah, we always have a ton of cookies. Like cookies are the main thing.
Yeah. Then maybe that should be our hotline scream question this week. What kind of pies you rocking on Christmas?
Yeah. What are you rocking? My mom, the one thing that I request she make are the freaking peanut butter balls or the Buckeyes.
Oh yeah. Ooh, those things are rich.
Oh, they're so good. I love them. Good Lord.
They're good. Whew. They're good. They're like bite-sized too, but like you can't pop too many,
Just a quick 300 cals. No big deal. Just
quick.
Right down the hatch. Have a few of those.
Ooh.
Oh man. I think that's pretty much all we have as far as housekeeping. This show is going to go up the day after we have put up the You Pick the Flick tier on our Patreon website. At this point, it's entirely possible they're all gone. I don't know yet because I can't see into the future. So we'll probably have more information on that come the first show of 2020. Stay tuned. But let's go ahead and talk about what we've been watching these past 3 days.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Juice, have you been watching anything this week?
I actually have. I've been watching a lot, so I'm good to go.
Sweet.
I finished up got American Horror Story season 8. Apocalypse. I finished that. And yeah, I had started, I was like not maybe halfway. I think it was like 10 episodes, which is nice because I always thought that those seasons went longer. Maybe they do. Maybe they finally like wisened up and shortened it a scotch. But 10 wasn't too bad. I mentioned before, it ended up being kind of like a sequel to Coven, which was season 3, which I actually was probably one of my favorites of American Horror Story. And once it got into that, I enjoyed it more. It was weird because they started off where it's like, oh, it's the apocalypse and you're going to live in a bunker and there's like mutants outside. And I was like, okay. And then they did like a swerve, like, oh no, there's like magic and shit. And I was like, but still didn't reveal that it was like a Coven sequel or whatever. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? Magic and like demons? Like, why are we doing this in the fucking apocalypse or whatever? But then they like did like a backtrack, like, oh, this is what's been happening, like leading up to the apocalypse. And I was like, okay. Like, then I was like getting into it because actually it was kind of cool what they did. They worked in a lot of like the past seasons. So like they went back to the house
Murder
from season
house.
1. Yeah, they went back like to the hotel.
Oh no shit.
In season 5. Yeah, they're doing like pulling people from like season 3, which is like the Coven stuff. And as far as I know, that's it. Like they didn't do any like Roanoke shit. I don't think they did any cult stuff that I was aware of. They didn't go to the hospital in season 2 or whatever. So, but it was cool. It was like bringing some of those characters back and some of those stories and kind of like tying up some of those loose ends. Jessica Lange, right? That's her name, right?
Jessica Lange, yeah.
She was in a lot of it because she was like coming back as some of her old characters, and that was cool because I know she hasn't like been in it for a bit, but it was okay. At the end, I was still kind of like underwhelmed, and they still like brought in a lot of weird shit like cyborgs.
Yeah,
I don't know why they like. I don't know why they can't stick with like one aesthetic. I feel like it would just suit them like better to just stick with one aesthetic. But they did like the voodoo stuff again. They brought in like voodoo, and so that was cool. Voodoo. Yeah, they played the Godsmack song and everything.
So it was really good.
Yeah. So overall, extra medium. Chrissy Orlando status.
AHS.
It went back and
Chrissy
forth.
Orlando.
Yeah. Chrissy Orlando status. At first, I was like, "Oh, it's good. Oh, it's not great." And then at the end, I was like, "It was
fine."
Yes. So I finished that. And I also, of course, I've been doing the Christmas season viewing. So I watched Home Alone 1. I watched Home Alone 2.
Nice.
There's this new Christmas movie on Netflix. I think it's like a Netflix original or whatever animated film. It's called Klaus. And it's really good. I think it's like a really good, like new animated, like Christmas film. It feels like kind of like Emperor's New Groove, but Christmas themed or whatever. It's like very like much like kind of that same humor, and the characters kind of fall into that kind of status, and like they got this like buddy dynamic and stuff like that. But it's really solid. Like I thought it was a really good like new animated Christmas movie. And I also went back, since we weren't doing a Christmas special this year, I went back and listened to our Straight Chilling episode on Christmas Evil. And I really like want to watch that movie now before Christmas time, because I forgot how much I enjoyed it. But hearing us like talk about it, I was like, oh shit, yeah, that was a pretty solid Christmas horror movie. So it's now on my list. We'll see if I get it before Christmas comes in. You
and Randy, I think, really liked it. I was a little lukewarm on it.
Really?
Yeah, but I like what you guys had to say about it. I haven't watched it since we did a show last year. I wouldn't mind rewatching it again.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, maybe if I'm in town, maybe we can watch it together.
Yeah, maybe I'll like it better the second time.
Maybe. So, yeah, I think that's about it. I haven't watched any new Christmas horror. But I'd kind of like to see that Black Christmas if I can. But I don't know. It's just so busy with the holidays. I don't know if I can work it in. So we'll see.
There's a lot of shit going on. I did catch that earlier this week. I put out a little mini episode on it. And I dig it. I dig it for what it is. It's not perfect for sure. But I think mainly like the criticisms that I've been seeing on it, I just thought were kind of weird. Like, yeah, I would maybe dislike it for more, like, I don't know, just different reasons, I guess. But I don't know. I like it for what it is, for sure. But anyway, as far as like what I have been watching the past 3 days.
Oh, hang on, Bob.
Oh,
what have you been watching? I need to practice for our episode where we all switch roles.
I actually am so down.
I'm gonna be the host one day.
That's fine. You didn't even like play in the bumps. You didn't even want to do that.
That is true.
I watched a movie called Deadly Blessing, which is... So we're talking about Deadly Friend, which is a Wes Craven joint, and made me kind of go back through his catalog, and I was curious about... There's like a handful of Wes Craven movies I'd never seen before. Deadly Blessing and Deadly Friend were a couple of them, so I was like, let me check this movie out. Since we're talking about Wes Craven anyway this week, I watched it. It's sort of a cult movie. It's about these like this like family of women. They like move to this like farmhouse, and they're adjacent to what turns out to be a cult. Like there's this crazy cult leader, and he's got his sons, and they look to be almost Amish the way they're presented in the movie. They kind of have that look.
Yeah, okay.
And they're like assaulting
Religious weirdos.
I guess, yeah. They're like assaulting these women and like screaming about the incubus, like calling one of them specifically an incubus, and she deserves fire and brimstone and all that stuff. And throughout the movie, there's like spiders and snakes that are potentially these religious people like transforming into these creatures, and it just gets kind of culty, like kind of weird. And I don't know that I really enjoyed it. It's not terrible. There's like a couple decent scares. There's like a really random scene where these women are doing target practice with a pistol, just in case they need to like defend themselves. And there's this bag. They're shooting at bottles, and then there's just like a bag, and they shoot the bag, and I guess there's a watermelon inside of it, and it just like explodes, like a massive explosion. Just like a very random ass scene. Overall, I don't know that I'd really recommend it. Wes Craven's done worse. He's also done better.
Did you buy it on Blu Ray, Bob?
Yes, of course.
You did.
I mentioned it last.
We'll talk.
No, I mentioned it last week.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was one of the ones I got. Or Monday.
Okay.
Mentioned it.
At least you're working through them.
I am. I'm trying.
Trying your hardest.
I also, as far as Christmas watching is concerned, I revisited Batman Returns, which I hadn't seen in quite some time.
Yeah, you would mention that as being a Christmas movie, and I was like, oh yeah, it is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I forgot like how Christmas it is. It's Christmas as shit. It's like snowing throughout the whole movie.
Is. Yeah.
They do like a huge tree lighting scene at the beginning of the movie. And I just hadn't seen it in a while, and I've been listening to a lot of Oingo Boingo recently, which is like Danny Elfman's band.
Since that movie,
Texas
we watched.
Chainsaw
Oh, Texas
2.
Chainsaw 2. Yeah, God,
freaking Oingo Boingo, man, is apparently my jam, and I just never knew it. So watching,
you're becoming a weird old man, Bob.
Yeah, of course I am. It's my destiny.
It's true.
But just listening to like Danny Elfman's soundtrack for that movie, and Tim Burton's art direction, and just the performances from like Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito are just like incredible. That movie is amazing. I enjoyed the hell out of it, start to finish. It's great.
Yeah, it was always like my favorite of like the four growing up. Like I liked it more than the Joker, than the original, and of course it's like better than like Batman Forever and whatnot.
Batman and Robin.
Even though I liked it as a kid, Batman Forever, but I still like Batman Returns. Always was kind of like my favorite, even as a kid growing up. So, yeah,
I enjoyed the hell out of it, and it's now like definitely cemented as a solid like Christmas movie, like one that I'll remember like to go back to and rewatch during the Christmas season. I like finding new movies like that are maybe sneaky Christmas movies, like you wouldn't immediately think of, like Home Alone or Elf or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good call though, Bob.
Good shit. Yeah, that's what I've been watching. Let's go ahead and jump into the main event. We're talking Deadly Friend, a Wes Craven joint. Let's kick it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
All right. This movie was released October 10th, 1986. The plot synopsis is as follows. After his friend is killed by her abusive father, the new kid in town attempts to save her by implanting robotic microchips into her brain. Also, her is Samantha. I don't know why they didn't want to use her name.
It's being like, it's the back of the box.
Yeah.
You don't need a lot of
I suppose you're right. This is starring a bunch of people I'm not really familiar with. Christy Swanson is Sam. Matthew Labiorto, I think that's how you say it. Labiorto is our main character, Paul. Juice, have you ever seen this movie before, and would you recommend people check it out?
Bob, I have never seen this movie before, never heard of this movie before, and I cannot recommend that you watch this film. The thing about this movie is, I will say, like, as a preface, because like we've brought it up before, that like for me, I'm not like super big into the old school campy horror. For me, it's a very fine line. Like I do enjoy campy, old school campy horror, but it's easy to go for me from like I love it to I absolutely hate it. Like it's a very, very fine line. So for me, this falls in the realm of I just like I wasn't about it. I couldn't. It is like very campy, old school horror. And I just couldn't get into it personally, but I could easily see where somebody like could enjoy it. So for my taste, if you typically fall in line with like my taste on the cast, then you might not like this movie. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'd never seen this one before. I was aware of it just because it's a movie by Wes Craven, and it was sort of like on my periphery. And I don't know that I could really recommend someone check this out either. I didn't love it. There's definitely like a few scenes that are hilarious, and I think that would be worth checking out if there's like a highlight reel or something like that. But it's definitely a flawed movie, and I've got some trivia on it that would probably help explain as to why. I don't know that this is entirely Wes Craven's fault. But yeah, it's got some pretty funny moments.
Rob the apologist over here.
I am. I'm definitely a Wes Craven apologist.
Looking out for Shaboy.
Yeah, I wouldn't outright recommend it though. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Wes Craven, he's got some stinkers. We've covered some like obscure Wes Craven on here, and it's illuminated me to just how bad he can be sometimes.
They're not all great. They can't be all winners, man. Can't be.
Yeah. They're not even all like okay.
Yeah, this
it's got some high highs and some low lows.
This came out, I think it was immediately after Nightmare on Elm Street.
Good Lord.
This was the next movie that
There is one scene that like actually there's like a couple of scenes that kind of like really remind me of that.
Same.
Movie of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Same. But before we get into all of that, let me go ahead and drop that spoiler warning, and we'll get into it. Here we go.
Spoiler warning.
So one thing I will say for this movie, even though I didn't enjoy it that much, it's got some like cool kills. This movie's got some like cool, like sometimes brutal, sometimes hilarious like kills in it that I really enjoyed. That was like some of my favorite parts of this.
I agree. Yeah, those are definitely the best parts, like the ridiculous kill scenes and some of the dream sequences.
Yeah.
Those are definitely the best. But let's kind of hit the synopsis real quick. There's not a whole lot going on plot wise, but the movie starts off.
It's essentially a Frankenstein kind of movie. Esque.
It starts off like it reminds me of Short Circuit. You know, the robot movie, like high school movie or whatever from the 80s. But yeah, and then it pretty much does become somewhat of a Frankenstein story. It's a bit of a weird mashup, but the movie opens with this guy trying to break into a car, and he gets his throat grabbed by something that you can't quite see entirely, but it looks like a mechanical
It's clearly
arm.
a robot. Yeah, the mechanical arm.
And it like grabs him around the throat, and he gets scared and runs away. And then this mom and her like teenage son come out of the convenience store and get in the car and drive away. And then it's revealed that there's this like bizarre yellow robot by the name of BB. We find out this kid, Paul, is just like a genius. He built this robot, programmed this robot, and it's artificial intelligence, basically. It learns and does what it wants on its own will. And as we have learned from this opening sequence, it will fuck you up if you're in the wrong. It's not not afraid to fuck
it
you
essentially kind of protects the kid, though. It's like protective of the kid, but it's one of those classic things where like it can't distinguish like what's acceptable and what's not acceptable as far as like protection goes. Because there's like a bully, like of a biker gang that kind of like picks on. There's like a crusty old neighbor that like gives them shit about their like basketball. There's like a couple incidents where like shit like that happens where it's like, you know, they're being dicks or they're being assholes, but like the robot overreacts and kind of freaks out or whatever.
Oh, that fucking basketball. We'll get to that fucking basketball.
Dude, that shit, I actually really enjoyed that.
This kid and his family, and his kid and his mom and his robot, they move into like a new neighborhood, and he's like working with somebody to, I don't know. He's doing
so he got a scholarship to like go to school. He's going to school.
Super smart.
He's like working with this professor at one point. Yeah, he's like a robotics, so he built this robot, but he's also working on his professor. And at one point they're like cutting into like a brain and he's like controlling a body with the brain. So I'm like, is he like a biology kid or is he like robotics? Like what? Is he just super genius all around? He does everything. Like,
I think so.
The science is loose.
Yeah. He moves into the neighborhood, and his next door neighbor is a teenage girl, Samantha, and he makes another friend named Tom, and it's sort of like the three of them are more or less who we're following throughout this movie. And we find out Samantha's father is abusive, and he hits her, and he's
an alcoholic.
He's an alcoholic, yeah, and she like at one point comes over to Paul's house on Halloween. They're like carving a pumpkin. She's got a bloody nose and she like won't admit what happened, but everybody knows, and she doesn't want to call the cops because she wants to protect her father. She loves her father, whatever. So the first nightmare sequence we have is kind of what gives us a hint that her father's a piece of shit. And she's sleeping in her bed or whatever, and we see her father come in, and he's like, he's not necessarily like being inappropriate with her, but you get that vibe, like maybe he kind of wants to, and it's like pretty uncomfortable.
Because she's like in her bed and shit.
Yeah, and he's just being a real piece of shit, and she has like this little vase on the nightstand by her bed, and she breaks it. It's glass, and she stabs him in the heart with it, and it's just like gushing blood all over her face.
So much blood.
It is,
but he's laughing, like he's like, you can't kill daddy or something, or like it's just like nuts. The thing is, I wish they didn't ham it up so much. They like his acting, like the acting in this movie, just in general, is pretty bad. Like just across the board.
Yeah, it's not great.
But it seems like they lean into it and like ham it up a lot. And it was unfortunate because like the blood and shit, like there was so much blood, and I was like, this could be like kind of creepy or cool, but like it's so hammy.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I got so tired of like how hammy everything was. So
some of the trivia I have, I feel like I should probably mention and not save it all for the trivia at the end of the show.
Okay.
It'll illuminate some of this. So like those, when I was watching this, I did not realize it came after A Nightmare on Elm Street. I actually thought it was before, and seeing these dream sequences, I was like, okay, so I was thinking Wes Craven was playing around with these ideas that he had and then sort of fine-tuned them, and then maybe a couple years later ended up making Nightmare on Elm Street, but had it backwards.
That would make sense, yeah.
He was hired for this movie, and I guess the people at Paramount or wherever hired him, like, didn't realize exactly who he was, and when they realized, they were like, oh, well, feel free to, take this like family drama that you were making and, punch it up, make it a little more horror centric if you want to. And then, so he made a final cut with just a single dream sequence. I don't know which one was included, but just one. That was the only gore in the whole movie at all whatsoever. It's supposed to be like a drama, and they did it. They showed it to a test audience. They didn't really like it. So the execs told him that he had to make like 2 more dream sequences and like add a whole bunch more blood, and they like recut it. and shot some extra shit and took out a lot of like the dramatic parts and tried to make it like a straight up horror movie. So now we're kind of left with this weird cut up Frankenstein movie, and there's sequences that just feel totally out of place because they weren't intended to be there. So yeah, they found out like, oh, you're the Nightmare on Elm Street guy. Do more of that, you know.
It's true, but also, I mean, the tone isn't necessarily what bothered me, though. I mean, the acting just in general, even like if you're looking at some of the sequences, like, oh, where he's getting picked on by the bully or like just shit like that are like bad. So I don't know if that would have saved it.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah. It's when I first started watching this, I was like, is this made for TV? But it's not. But it kind of feels that way.
It could have been, it definitely like doesn't feel like, as far as like movie making goes, like just aesthetic and like quality, like it feels like nowhere even close to Nightmare on Elm Street. And like you said, that's your assessment is like feels right. It feels like something that would have been made earlier. Like, oh, you're kind of fine tuning, you're working out these ideas, but yeah, the fact that it comes after is like, ugh.
Ooh. It just goes to show that he didn't want to do that. That's not what he wanted to do.
Sure, yeah. And even some of it is just straight, like, I could almost maybe guess which ones were added after the fact, because there's like one that feels like it's straight up like ripping off Nightmare on Elm Street. And I feel like if he just like did want to put a lot of effort into it, then he just would. I mean, a burned dude comes out of the middle of this like kid's bed after like coming up the middle like towards his crotch kind of area. I mean, it's like beats like straight from like Nightmare.
That is the movie. That's Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. So I feel like he was probably just like, fuck it, they're gonna make me reshoot these things. I'm just gonna like not try much. So yeah.
So to get back to wrapping up the plot, or at least getting further into it, to go back to the Halloween night, the kids go out and they're, being kids, putting shave cream on people's cars and shit like that. And they walk up to like this old lady neighbor, and she's got a gate all around her house. She's just like really mean and unnecessarily cruel to these kids, as we've seen previously. And BB rolls up to her gate and like unlocks the lock on it because he's a super robot and figures out the combination and can do that. And the kid Paul actually like turns BB off, turns the power off after he does that, because he doesn't want BB to like roll up and mess with this lady because she's super mean, doesn't know what she's gonna do. And BB turns himself back on and rolls up to the front door, and the lady comes out with a shotgun and blasts BB the fuck away. She blasts that bitch away. Yeah.
That show's pretty funny.
Like that
she
robot
pops him a couple times. Yeah. Also, God, can we just briefly talk about the choice of this robot's like voice? That shit like was driving me insane.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
It's terrible. That in itself is just like a really questionable choice. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. So BB from that point on is gone. Like you're ready for this like weird robot movie, but the robot gets blasted to shit. And after that, Sam, she's at home and she goes home after being out with her friends, and her dad's a real piece of shit, and he like pushes her down the stairs because she wasn't supposed to be out. And she doesn't quite die there, but she's definitely like severely injured. She's got some head trauma.
Yeah.
She goes.
That scene was pretty fucked up, man. Because he I think he backhands her and she falls down the stairs, and then she's like shaking at the bottom of the stairs, and he's just like yelling at her from the top of the stairs, like, "Get up, get up!" Like in a not in like a scared or like concerned way, still being like just a huge piece of shit. You're like, God, she's like shaking and like bleeding from her nose and ears, and you're like, oh my God,
it was pretty fucked up.
Even like if you're thinking about this as like a drama, you're like, holy shit.
I think that's more the movie Wes Craven was trying to make, was to show like the horrors of like this parent, basically.
Yeah, physical
being
abuse,
an abusive parent. But they take Sam to the hospital, and they do what they can for her, but she ends up going brain dead, and they pull life support, and she does die. And then that's when it becomes essentially like a Frankenstein story. We kind of shift gears here, and Paul and his friend Tom sort of hatch this plan to go get Samantha's corpse and try and reanimate her by using this like chip that was from BB. So they do that, and like they drug their mom so she falls asleep so they can sneak out of the house and grab the corpse. They pull all this off. These two kids pull all of this shit off. Paul does like brain surgery and implants this fucking robot chip into Sam's brain, and she comes back alive. And they teach her how to like walk and operate, and the way that she moves is similar to the way that BB moved, as if she was a robot.
Like very robotic. Yeah. And even this movie is like so dated too. And that I have problems with movies like from this time that rely heavily on like technology. Same thing with like books too. I remember when I was reading like Congo or something, maybe it was Congo or maybe even like Jurassic Park, where they're like talking about the technology, and it's so clear they don't like know what the fuck they're talking about now, and like none of it's like doesn't make any fucking sense. Like the girl sees like a robot, like when it goes into her like first person like view or whatever, it's like robotic, like scanning shit and like all grainy and pixelated.
Doesn't make any
I'm
sense.
just like, it doesn't make a lick of sense.
It's like a CCTV almost is like how she's seeing first person. It's like, why would she
through her eyes? Yeah, why would her eyes be pixelated?
Yeah. Shit's bizarre. So we've got this like Frankenstein creature created by these teenage kids, and Sam is walking around and she just starts murdering people. That's kind of like the next big plot point. She goes after her father pretty quickly, and she beats the fuck out of him. It's kind of brutal.
This scene was dope. He
grabs
like
a shovel,
throws him into the basement.
Yeah,
or like tricks him or whatever.
Yeah, shoves him down the stairs, and the dad like throws a shovel at her, and she grabs it out of the air and like throws it back at him like super strong. And it's like, for some reason she's just like got superhuman strength now, like, which is confusing.
yeah
It doesn't really make a lot of sense. She like breaks her father's hand by bending it back. She like holds him up in the air. This like teenage girl just lifts this grown-ass man in the air like she's Michael Myers, and like chokes him and then snaps his neck and then crams him into the
she burns his face too. Yeah, does she like push it up against like a furnace?
Yeah. And then burns his corpse. She's just like, she's the fucking Terminator all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
That was cool because like Paul finds the body and like his head is like chilling like in the furnace, like his like face is all burned and like fucked up, and he has to like hide the body. That was pretty cool. Like I don't know. I guess once they leaned into like to some of the horror, I was about it more, and I guess maybe just like this weird mix of genres where like at first you think it is going to be like a robot movie. I don't know. It just I liked the kill. Like that kill was awesome.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the more entertaining scenes of the movie for sure. And you're like, okay, this is kind of like the Wes Craven I was expecting, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I guess it kind of makes sense. They were trying to play to that style because that's what he was known for. But I definitely think
and I guess
why the movie suffers.
Like, I don't know though. They might have made the right call, because for me those are like the best parts. Like if you made this drama, like the drama parts, like if that was like the movie he was trying to make about this robot, those parts suck. That's honestly, like those are the shitty parts.
They could have, I don't know, they cut some shit too though, so like maybe if you had seen it in full the way he intended, it would
maybe
held more, maybe, but who knows?
Maybe
we may never know. It's unless Vinegar
they could have made the right call though.
Finds that original cut, puts it out on 4K.
Save us, Vinegar Syndrome. Give us what we need.
This is what the people demand. The original director's cut of Deadly Friend on 4K.
Oh,
with a
Lord.
limited edition slipcover. That's signed by Wes Craven.
That's what we need. On sale for $35.
Not $35. $20. Wes Craven's Ghost signature. That's what I want. Oh, shit.
So pretty cheap. He'll get it pretty cheap.
Pretty cheap. So we've got this the fucking Terminator rolling around. She's on a killing spree. So after she kills her dad, she goes after that like mean ass old lady that's living in the neighborhood that blew BB away, and she rolls up into her house.
It's also one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah. It's so earlier in the movie, the kids are playing basketball. The basketball accidentally bounces into this lady's yard, and she comes out brandishing a shotgun. And she's like yelling at him. So the basketball makes an epic ass return in this scene. So the lady's like sleeping in her bed, and we see this like basketball kind of roll in menacingly, and she wakes up. She walks downstairs, and Sam is down there with the basketball, and she like throws the basketball at this old ass lady's head, and her head just fucking explodes.
She explodes, but she doesn't die, and then her body like kind of like around. Yeah, like a chicken with its head, like it doesn't immediately collapse. It kind of like stumbles around for a couple steps. I was like, what the fuck?
That shit
explodes.
Boom, like scanners explodes. Like boom.
I love that shit though. See, and that's what I was kind of saying about like the campy horror. It's like I wasn't necessarily against like a basketball making a head explode like that. I enjoyed that. So it is a very fine line though. But that show is dope. It went like all over the walls and everything.
Yeah, it's a huge bloody mess.
Yeah.
So she's on her killing spree, and I think it's Paul. Paul has a nightmare. This is like the next nightmare scene. And he has a nightmare about Sam's dad's burnt up head popping up underneath his sheets. And then the full burnt up dad like bursts through the mattress, and it looks like Freddy Krueger because he's all burnt up and shit. There's like blood bursting through the mattress with him. And I mean, it's like straight out of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
So that's probably, I imagine that's probably something they made Craven add to where he's like, fuck it, I'll just do the fucking thing.
I just imagine Wes Craven just on set with his like hands out saying like, are you not entertained?
Is this not what you demand from me?
Are you happy now, Bishop?
Why? I've created a monster.
Damn. Just having a breakdown on set.
I can never escape this Krueger. Yeah. Poor Craven. So we got that going on.
Poor Craven.
Yeah. Tom, Paul's friend Tom's feeling kind of like guilty about Sam murdering all these people, and he's like, "Hey, dude, we gotta like tell the authorities because she's killing folks." and Paul's like not into it. He's like, "No, that's wrong because she's like our creation, our friend, or whatever." And like he's still like, I guess, kind of in love with Sam in a way.
I want to bang her.
Wants to bang this Frankenstein robot, Frankenbot, whatever.
Careful, she's got a mean grip, my guy.
I seen her throw a basketball at a grown woman's head. That didn't turn out well.
Ooh.
Got a mean grip. Whew. So we got that going on. Sam, since she's been reanimated, does not speak whatsoever. And then she, like, towards the end of the movie, starts saying BB. Which is ridiculous and extremely goofy. Which I kind like, that was very stupid, but I laughed every time she said it. That shit is dumb as hell. BB.
Oh my god, yeah. But then at the end, the Pope show up.
Yeah.
And, they're she kind of like regains like human. It seems like she's maybe gonna gain like the human is trying to like take over or something, but she gets gunned down anyways by the popes, and she ends up like saying Paul's name in a kind of like a normal way. She's like, Paul. And then she dies after she got gunned down.
Yeah. So
that's it.
Yeah, Paul is like being bullied by this like biker kid, and
I forgot about that. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
And she runs up and kind of like saves him, but as she's doing that, the cops roll up and they're trying to like break this fight up, and she picks the bully up and throws it into the cop car, and like the windows explode.
Yeah.
And after she throws the bully is when she screams BB, and that shit is hilarious. That was probably my second favorite part of the movie, next to like the basketball head explosion. Baby! It's like, this is dumb as hell. This is fucking dumb.
Yeah, that was really dumb. I didn't like that as much because it seemed like that was the campiness, like the dumb choices where I was like, man, that's really dumb. As opposed to the basketball that I found really entertaining. Like the other one was too like campy cringe for me, where I was like, oh, that's just really bad.
Yeah.
I just, ugh.
So, she does get like shot up by the cops, and Paul sneaks into the morgue again. This is like the very end of the movie to take her corpse again, and I guess try and reanimate it somehow, which is ridiculous.
Except they didn't like shoot her in the head, so technically like that chip
should be fine. This is nonsensical. None of this shit makes sense. Baby! Yeah. So he sneaks up into the morgue to take her corpse again, and as he's about to do it, she like wakes up and then rips all the like flesh off of her body, and it's revealed that she's just now like a yellow robot that's kind of resembling the original BB underneath. And then they roll credits. Yeah. And I would like to add,
no sense.
When they roll the credits, they have this ridiculous like BB song that plays over the credits. It's terrible. It's hilariously terrible, and that's where I got all these weird bumps from. So you got that to look forward to at the very end as a nice little cherry on top of your Sunday.
Look forward to it.
Yeah. Sweet BB credits. Oh yeah. That's pretty much the plot.
Why would she be a robot underneath? I guess I assume, it could be like another nightmare sequence. I don't know.
It's
not revealed that it is.
It does not make a lick of fucking sense. It really doesn't.
She's just a robot underneath her flesh.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know. So if this was going to be more of like a family drama, like was Wes Craven, I wonder if he was initially trying to have this like Frankenstein monster come back and actually try to murder her father, because that's confusing.
That's the thing. I can't see a movie.
What was he trying to do?
That's just a straight drama about a Frankenstein girl. Like, it's even to add more gore. How did they deal with this? Because they obviously set it up because the robot gets blasted away. So he set the robot portion up. Yeah. So he's got to bring the girl back. Maybe it was more like a weird science.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe she was more animated and not straight up Frankenstein murder monster thing.
Yeah, maybe the dad sees her and has guilt and kills himself or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to see. It's hard to see through all this random nonsense, what his vision was. Maybe it could have been good. Maybe it was just really boring, and legitimately the only goofy parts of this movie are the only good parts. I don't know. Who's to say? It's a bizarre hodgepodge of nonsense. That's for sure. I don't know. Is there any?
Why'd you make us watch this, Miles? Why,
Miles?
Actually, Miles chose. It's okay. Miles chose Vampire's Kiss, which was one of my favorite watches from this year. But we watched it this summer, I think, and covered it. It was another Patreon pick by Miles, and that so you got credit, my guy. It's okay.
It's true. Yeah, that movie is incredible. None of us had seen it before, and it's just gonna be impossible to follow that up with really any movie.
That's true.
To be honest.
That's true.
That shit is insane. Also,
I know that was a weird situation where we all kind of like dig crazy Nick Cage. We had none of us had seen the movie. Went in and like all just like loved the shit out of it. That's a hard find.
Yeah. Also, Miles gets bonus points for that one because Vampire's Kiss was put up by Scream Factory on a double bill with High Spirits, and I picked it up to watch for that episode, and that disc is now out of print. So, bonus
Miles. You added to Rob's negative jet ski fund.
Thank you. So the jet ski that I never wanted looks like I'll never have it. Oh no.
We'll get to that.
We will. Is there anything you want to touch on, Juice, that we haven't yet before we give our ratings on this?
I don't think so, man. Even I watched this like actually like over the weekend because I know we had like a double feature this week. So even some of the scenes were like I kind of forgot about like the bully scene a little bit and stuff like that. So it's a little fuzzy. So I don't like have a whole lot of like in-depth, like nothing that I don't think we covered.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to really analyze here. It sort of is what it is. It's just like a weird jumbled mess. It's got some kind of tragic shit with this abusive father. Some like really bizarre murder sequences and dream sequences, some of which are pretty hilarious. And outside of that, there's not a whole lot going on, I don't think.
No.
But it's an oddity. It's fucking weird as shit. I don't know that I have much to add either. I watched this on Monday, which was, we're recording on Thursday, and it's probably a bad sign that it's still, the movie's already a little bit hazy in my memory. Like that's kind of how I feel. Yeah. Like I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. Even though, I mean, mine was like, I watched it, I don't know, 6 days ago, I guess. But yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a weird one. But let's go ahead and let's rate this thing. Juice, out of 5, how are you feeling about Deadly Friend? Not particularly good. This was like difficult for me to just even get through. I was just like, man, I don't, because a lot of like the brutal stuff that I liked at the end, like the campy gore and kills, were at the end of this movie. And so getting like slogging through this like boring ass drama with this weird robot and like his bad boys and stuff like that, it was tough, honestly. I was like a little curious just because of like Wes Craven, and there was that dream sequence where the dad gets stabbed and there's like blood pouring everywhere. That is more towards the beginning. So I was a little intrigued about where it was heading. I definitely enjoy the kills, like the crazy kills, the most about this movie. The basketball scene was cool. The dad getting killed scene was cool. A couple like that dream sequence, even though it was like straight ripped from Nightmare, was cool. But a lot of it just doesn't make sense. A lot of it's dated, like the robot technology stuff, the CCTV eyes, and perspective. The acting is like really bad. A lot of the scenes are just like super over the top, hammy, like even like with the motorcycle like bully and stuff. It's just like really cheesy to the max, actually. Like imagine like 80s drama, like teen drama, like Cheese, but like to 11. So overall, like I don't really want to watch this movie again, but I mean it did have like a couple of fun moments for sure. So I'm gonna give it I'll give it a solid 1 star. Solid 1 star. Bob, how do you feel about Deadly Friend? Let me tell you, This is kind of this is pretty low on the Wes Craven filmography for me as far as the stuff that I have seen. It's got some pretty funny moments, some decent gore here and there. The ridiculous song at the very end, that ridiculous scene with the robot grabbing the carjacker's throat at the beginning. There's just like a few highlights sprinkled throughout this movie, but it's just like sort of like a jumbled, confused plot, and the tone isn't very consistent. Nobody is like really believable in their performance. And if it was going for like sincerity, I think it kind of misses the point there. If it was going for like a nice 80s drama or like a teenage comedy, like rom-com, I think it just kind of like misses the mark across the board. I don't know that it was like super successful in any way. And it's just, I don't think it was entirely the director's fault, but it's just not a very good movie. So I think I'm going to come in with a 1 as well. And that's going to put our aggregate
solid
at
1 star.
Yeah. Solid.
No quick math
star.
there, Bob.
No, the quickest math because no math.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I watched it. I will say I'm glad I watched it because at some point I want to see.
Rob's a completist.
Yeah, I want to see everything that Wes Craven's done. So check. Did it.
Rob, did you buy this on Blu Ray?
No, I rented it on Amazon. I think it was like $2 or $3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Thank God. It's actually not on Blu Ray. It's only on DVD. And
so you tried.
I looked at it. Yeah, I looked at it, and it's relatively expensive for I don't remember exactly how much it was, but it was more than I was willing to spend.
What is expensive for DVDs these days?
I mean, to be honest, you can spend, if you want to, like easily $40, $50, $60 on a DVD if it's rare enough. People charge crazy.
How much was this one? Was it that high?
No, this wasn't that. I think this was probably like 15 to 25, something like that.
Okay.
But I was like,
it's not even 4K, bro. It doesn't even have the, slip cover.
It's got nothing. It should be like,
it's not holographic. It
should be like a 5 spot for a DVD of this fucking thing, but it's not. It should be a cool 5 spot.
That's pretty cheap.
All right. I pick up on your tone, Juice. It's less than subtle. But let's go ahead and jump over into our Rotten Tomatoes segment, see what the critics and users think about old Deadly Friend.
Certified fresh to death.
Take it away.
All right, so since it's the two of us, I was able to think ahead and not pull up Rotten Tomatoes. So there might be a delay in just a second, but me and Bob will both get to play, and I never get to play. And it's been discussed that Randy might be taking this spot, so I'm actually kind of excited because I never get to play the game. I never get to play the damn thing.
We're gonna jazz some shit up here at Straight Chilling headquarters.
Whoa, 2020! Whoa,
what's up?
A new decade, Bob.
The deuce, baby. Shit's gonna be.
You're not
different.
even gonna recognize this podcast in the 20s.
I'm gonna have dreads.
We're going full Art Deco on your asses. We're bringing it back.
We're gonna be post podcast. That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
son.
Whoa. Okay, so we both get to guess. So let's go ahead and guess everything together. So this is our Rotten Tomatoes segment where we are going to try to guess what the overall scores are. First with the critics, and then with the audience score. Bob, I'll let you go first. I'll be a gentleman and let you go first and say, what do you think the critics rated Deadly Friend?
The critics, I have to imagine, were unkind to this movie. I'm going to come in with a 20%.
20. All right. I also agree that they were probably not kind, but I'm going to think that maybe we got some bootlickers amongst the crowd, and they want to maybe please Wes Craven a scotch or just like give him the praise that this movie does not deserve. So I'll go a little higher than you, and I'll say 35. 35 is my guess.
All right.
And before I look it up, let's go ahead and do the Oozer rating. I'll go first this time.
Okay.
So Oozers, even if you're like a Wes Craven fan, I gotta feel like you like recognize like this movie is not particularly good. So this might be a little tougher because like I have a hard time like just imagining a lot of people apologizing for this film, like a lot. Might be slightly higher, so I'll go like 40%.
40%. Yeah, I think that's too high. I think I'll give it a 30. I'll come in with 30.
A 30. Okay, so yours was, what was your first guess?
25. 20.
20?
No, it was 20.
I thought it was 20.
Yeah, it was 20.
So 20, and I said 35.
Yep.
Okay. And then I said 40, and you said what?
30.
30. Okay, here we go. I'm going to look it up. Deadly Friend. Here it is. Oh, no. Oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. So, total critics counted 10. It is not certified fresh. If anything, it's certified rotten. I wish they had a certified rotten.
I think just rotten is certified rotten.
Yeah, but there's a big difference in some rottens. This is 10%. Bob, you took it on this one. 10%. Oh man, there is no critic consensus. So let me see what some of the critics said. Hang on, before I do that, I'll hop into the audience score. Bob, I said 40 and you said 30, right?
Yeah.
I won this round, Bob. Oozer ratings, 3,417 people rated this movie. Still not good, but 38%. 38%. So there's definitely some people apologizing a scotch for Wes Craven.
Too high. Too high.
Too high. But there's no critic consensus. Oh my God. I gotta read this first. It's from a top critic.
Okay.
From the Washington Post. A movie whose hoe is exceeded only by its hum.
Wow.
Is lame. Written on January 1st, 2000. Wow. Almost 20 years ago.
Sniffing your own farts. Can't get enough of them.
Yeah. At first, I was like, where's this guy going? Because the first thing I just read, I was just kind of skimming, and I saw a movie whose hoe, and I was like,
what?
What was he talking about?
Huh?
It's like, is he talking about the Samantha chick? What? Who's hoe?
She's a Frankenstein, not a Frankenhooker.
This person, Ron, has become progressively cheesier as the years pass. There is one fresh that I can see, maybe the only one that exists. Yeah, I guess if it's 10%, it's the only one that exists. A wickedly fun fright fest from the master of horror. He is writing from, he wrote this on June 12th, 2019. So from this year.
Wow.
From somewhere called The Movie Hole.
That doesn't sound promising.
I don't know about that name guy. His name is Caffeinated Clint from The Movie Hole. Says a wickedly fun fright fest from the master of horror. Maybe Caffeinated Clint listens to this podcast. If you do, my guy, please call into our hotline. Scream next week. Let us know what you think.
Caffeinated Clint. Say it ain't so.
Caffeinated Clint. So, Rob, you won one. I won one. We went tit for tat. We jabber-jawed. We went a little back and forth, you know. That's our Rotten Tomatoes segment.
We did a little bloobity blurb and the bleebity blop and the blur. Yep. We did it. Let's go ahead and hit up some anti-Randy trivia.
It's totally time for trivia.
It is totally time for trivia.
Totally time for trivia.
We don't need Randy.
I remember when we recorded these bumps back in the day. Damn.
Yeah.
Throwback.
That was a hot minute ago. It was 5 years ago-ish, roundabout.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into some of this right here. So this is a bit of a long one. Director Wes Craven and screenwriter Bruce Joel Rubin's original vision for the film was a PG-rated supernatural science fiction thriller, with the primary focus being on the macabre love story between Paul and Samantha, as well as the secondary focus on the adults around them and how they are truly monsters inside themselves. Craven filmed the version of the film, and Warner Bros. Decided to screen it to a test audience mostly consisting of Craven's fans. The response from the fans was negative, criticizing the lack of violence and gore seen in Craven's previous films. The studio eventually discovered Craven's popularity as a horror film director. The president of Warner Bros. At the time, Mark Canton, demanded Rubin write 6 additional gore scenes into his script, each bloodier than the last. Rubin worked very hard with Craven to create a very deep and heartfelt movie out of it. Unfortunately, added gore scenes, reshoots, and post-production re-editing of the movie heavily changed the original story. Craven and Rubin expressed strong anger at the studio and thus disowned this movie. Said, no.
Oh, damn.
Don't want to have anything to do with it. It's not theirs anymore.
So Wes Craven doesn't even like this movie.
No.
That is, man, that is pretty shitty. And also, I find it just very strange. Like, sometimes, like, things come out and I'm like, what were people thinking? Or, like, how did this even play out? Like, okay, we're going to test screen to a bunch of Wes Craven fans. Mm-hmm. They specifically test screen to a bunch of, and didn't know that he made Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, how do you not know? Like, how, I just don't understand how you,
who hired him? Why'd you hire him?
Yeah, who hired him? And why? Yeah, why didn't you know? And why did you pick his fans to screen to if you didn't know who he was? Like, none of that like makes any kind of like logical sense in my brain. I'm just like, what? How do people get into these positions? Like, who makes these weird, terrible decisions?
I don't know. Somebody needs to pay the fuck attention.
Somebody needs to pay us to do their job. Straight chilling.
Blumhouse, hire us to do something. Whatever you want. It's fine. Just hire us.
Something.
We can do it. Next, I've got
consultants.
Yeah. That will be confine us to the nerdery, and whenever have like a question or need an opinion, we'll provide that. Christy Swanson, who played Samantha, said that she had probably thrown the basketball over 100 times during the reshoot filming of Elvira's death, which is where the head explodes. Wes Craven kept yelling at me to throw it as hard as I could to indicate great speed. I must have tossed the ball 100 times. My arm sure felt I did. Swanson also said in an interview with Maxim magazine in 2000, the fake head was stuffed with actual cow brains that the production crew picked up from a butcher shop. Cow brains.
All right. Sounds like she is being a little whiny.
Damn, girl, throw the ball.
Throw that basketball.
She she was 16 years old during the filming of this, and this was her feature film debut. And today she is still pretty proud of her work in this movie, apparently.
Is she?
Yeah. The BB robot cost over $20,000 to build.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, it's in the movie for maybe 20 minutes for the love. Wes Craven used a company called Robotics 21. The robot's eyes were constructed from 2 1950 camera lenses, a garage remote control unit, and a radio antenna taken from a Corvette. The BB robot could actually lift 750 pounds. That is ridiculous.
Holy shit!
Why would you make it that strong?
Shit.
Why?
Yeah, why? It doesn't need to be that functional.
It doesn't
lift anything in the movie.
It almost rips a dude's throat out. I know that.
Yeah, if I knew that as that guy, I'd be like, I don't want to work with this prop with its hand on my throat and some operator who might not know what the fuck they're doing and it fucking lifts 700 pounds. Oh my God.
That's a grip.
That seems unnecessary.
Yes. It makes little to no sense.
Oh my God.
The film was censored heavily by the MPAA and was submitted 13 times before it finally got an R rating. Samantha's nightmare about killing her father, the death scene of Samantha's father, the aftermath of the death scene, and the death scene of Elvira were all cut. An uncut version has been restored on the DVD release.
Wait.
Yeah, so I guess there was a version with all that stuff not in it. And then...
then wouldn't that be the original movie?
I don't know.
What? None of this make this much, much bloodier. Hey, we can't get this into the theaters. Okay, let's cut it all.
Maybe this trivia is fucking bullshit, but apparently there's a DVD put out of this September 5th, 2007 that had all the gore scenes put back into it. I don't know. According to Wes Craven, the film had 7 or 8 producers, and each one had their own idea of what the film should be, which obviously adds to like the disjointed feeling of it. While filming the movie and having problems with the studio forced reshoots, Wes Craven and his ex-wife, Mimi, were going through a messy divorce, and he even faced a $30 million lawsuit in court with the person who claimed not only to have written A Nightmare on Elm Street, but that Craven stole the story. On top of all of that, he was removed from 2 major projects, Beetlejuice and Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, both of which were also distributed by Warner Brothers. So that was just like a fucking shit year for
Man,
Craven.
Yeah, you think you're having a rough year. Ooh.
Yeah. You're
divorce.
Yeah.
Gotta reshoot the shitty movie. Get kicked off of Beetlejuice. That sucks.
So you're getting divorced. Your wife's going to take half your money. You're also getting sued for $30 million by this guy who claims that you stole Nightmare on Elm Street from him, which is to date your most successful film. And then you get kicked off 2 other movies that went on to be fairly successful. And then you're making this movie that's like getting torn apart by all these execs telling you what to do, and they won't let you make your own movie. It's just, that's a bad year. That's a bad year.
That's a rough year.
Gracious. Poor Craven, but he got through it and went on to make a lot of fucking great movies. So
yeah,
don't let the bastards grind you down. Don't
let the women get you down, guys.
Poor Mimi. It's all Mimi's fault. I'm sure. The last bit I have here is what has probably became the most confusing and hated scene of the film since its release. The ending where Samantha turns into a robot and kills Paul was indeed considered to be a very bad idea for the ending by people involved in filming, but it was included as a nonsensical last-minute idea of Mark Canton's, who was the head of the studio at the time, and in 1990...
Fuck Mark.
Yeah, in a 1990 interview with Fangoria magazine, screenwriter Bruce Joel Rubin commented on the forced ending, saying, "The robot coming out of the girl's head belongs solely to Mark Canton, and you don't tell the president of Warner Brothers his idea stinks."
I would. I'd be like, dude, come on, man. Everybody needs... I feel like people respect the no man. Maybe I'm wrong in that. And maybe, I guess it depends on the person.
The boss probably doesn't want to hear no. I mean, you can try.
See, people always think that, but as a boss, I feel like I would respect that. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Man,
maybe
you're the
I'm
boss of a bunch of kids.
Maybe I'm just a cool guy, you know? Maybe I'm...
All right, Eminem, with your hood up and your spaghetti stains on your fucking sweater, your Korean spaghetti stains. Do you guys eat spaghetti in Korea? What's going on over there?
Do we eat japaghetti? It's jajangmyeon.
Japaghetti.
Yeah, we eat spaghetti.
One of my coworkers, who was an ex-Marine, he was showing me this video on his phone the other day of when he was stationed in South Korea, and he was going through one of the markets over there, and they had like a big cooler where they were selling meat out of it, and there was like an image of a dog on the side of it, and then on his video he shows you what's in the cooler, and it's like very clearly cut up dog pieces. It's pretty rough looking.
I think that might be illegal now. I don't know when he was stationed here. Every now and then, like somebody said, like I can find you a restaurant, but like I have an old school market, like literally the next street over from my house, and there's a butcher there, and there's like nothing like that. So it's not. I
think even when he found it, that was like the only place he ever saw it. It wasn't like super common or anything like that. And it might have been illegal then. I don't know, but he found it.
It could be.
It just weird seeing like a cut up dog.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Anyway, that's real horror. Especially if you're a dog lover. Sorry, dog lovers. Should have trigger warning. Anyways, you know what time it is? It's time to go hunting. We're talking cooters. Justin, why don't you remind everybody exactly what a cooter is?
The cooter character type, we hunt them down. We got to catch them all. It is a person that consists of one of these 5 traits. Actually, they need to hit 3, I think, is the way we're going about it now.
Sounds fair.
You got manipulation, sexual deviancy, smug arrogance, attire, and patheticness. To become a cooter, those are the traits you must possess. In this film, there's maybe some candidates. Actually, I have like 3 in mind personally that kind of registered as I was watching this movie. The dad, of course. The dad as a cooter. The neighbor, the old woman neighbor, potentially as a cooter, and maybe like the biker gang leader.
Yeah, I think. Well, let's look at the dad first. So he he's maybe sexually deviant. We don't. It's
implied in the dream sequence.
So maybe
it's implied in the dream sequence. Yeah. So sexual deviant.
He's definitely I don't know that he's like self-important because we don't really get to know him that well, but he's abusive and an alcoholic. So he definitely
that would add to like the patheticness, like his alcoholicness and just like beating on your daughter. Like that's pretty pathetic. Like
that is pathetic, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember what he was wearing. I think it was dressed like normally, just like
there was when he dies, he's wearing like this like dad sweater vest kind of deal. Like I don't know. He's got like it's not particularly like cooterish, but knowing the character, it kind of adds to his like cooterness a little bit. I don't know. It's not like overtly cooter. Like if somebody else were wearing it, it would be fine. But I think just because of who he is, it kind of makes him look more like a cooter.
Yeah. Okay.
His little sweater vest.
Okay. All right.
So, smug arrogance. I don't know. In the way when the only thing I would say like about smug arrogance is like when he like knocks his child down the stairs and she's bleeding and he's like, get up, stop being like a lazy piece of shit, or and not really, but like just that kind of attitude has like some like the dominance, like even if you could say like, oh, it's an accident, she wasn't supposed to fall down the stairs, just that like attitude behind it of like almost like I'm not like, it wasn't even like fearful like, oh, I'm gonna get in trouble, I'm like the police are gonna catch me. He was just like still just trying to rule over her. It was weird. I don't know. I'd say he might be a little smug arrogance in there.
Yeah, I think definitely strong on the patheticness, and then I think he touches maybe 3 other points halfway. I don't know. Yeah. 2 to 3 other points halfway. Yeah, I think that's enough. I think that's enough to warrant a certified cooter. I mean, he essentially murders his child and is potentially sexually abusive and an alcoholic, and that's I feel pretty confident in saying certified cooter myself.
Well, and even with like she's out late that night, I think she like kisses that boy or whatever, and I don't think he like necessarily knows, but his whole thing is like, why were you out late? Like that might add to maybe the hint of the sexual deviousness, like, you know, like, oh, controlling and shit like that. So I feel like he's a cooter.
The older lady that's just kind of a bitch, like she is definitely unloading a shotgun, but it's like on her own property. But
yeah,
she's also just
kind of a bitch.
She does wield a shotgun towards a bunch of children that are just outside of her gate still, which is not okay at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that'll go towards
like an old lady nightgown on later on, I think, when she gets smashed with the basket. I think.
I don't know that really. I don't think she's gonna constitute as a cooter, but she does some fucked up shit for sure. And the bully is just like, I don't know, just like beats this kid's ass because he's like kind of a nerd.
Yeah,
and we don't really know much about him outside of that. So
that's true.
Self-importance,
so the dad.
Maybe a little patheticness on the bully is in, but just kind of like a stereotypical bully. I don't know.
The alcoholic dad who beats his daughter and maybe diddles her.
Yeah,
I think that's enough cooter.
Hardcore cooter. Yeah,
requirements.
That'll work. Yeah. Certified cooter.
Certified fresh cooter.
Let's go ahead and talk about a little bit of horror news.
Extra. Read all about it.
All righty then. So I think real quick, I want to mention Dr. Sleep is finally hitting home video with a special.
Finally, it just came out. Feels like we were covering that shit 3 weeks ago.
This is true. Well, it's coming out in February. Well, the physical disc is coming out February 4th, but it's going to be going to be on VOD January 21st. But it's the extended cut, which is going to be a 3-hour director's cut, is going to be on the disc. So I think the original runtime was 2.5 hours. So there's an additional 30 minutes on this director's cut.
I can't imagine sitting through another 30 minutes of that film.
Oh my God. I can imagine it, and I definitely will do it. I want to watch it again regardless. I'll probably just watch the director's cut. I want to see what else is in there. Because a big problem I have with that movie is they don't give stuff enough time to breathe and carry its proper weight.
Are you serious? It's 2.5 hours. They don't give enough time.
I know. It just flies through so much shit that feels very unimportant. And I get that it's got a lot of plot to cover, and the movie is long enough. The movie's longer than I want it to be. But if it's given even more time, maybe the shit that I feel doesn't carry any weight will carry some weight. There's a lot of people I've been seeing, because it's the end of the year. People are making their top 10 lists of 2019 and stuff. This movie's on a lot of people's lists. It's number one on a lot of people's lists.
They're wrong.
I don't get it either.
That's why the only list that matters is the one that's coming out next week from the Straight Chilling crew. That's the only one that matters. Because if you're putting Dr. Sleep number one, I don't know what to tell you, son. The Lighthouse came out this year. Us came out this year. Midsummer came out this year. You're putting Dr. Sleep number one. I'm sorry. People have opinions. I don't share them, but that's wrong.
Yeah, I don't get it either, man. I don't get it either. But look forward to that if it's something you are intrigued by. I don't think Dr. Sleep it sucks or anything, but I don't see it as the best movie of the year by any stretch of the imagination. Not even
give
close.
You a little spoiler warning.
It's
not even making my top 10. That's why the only list that matters is
that straight chilling list. Straight chilling. So we got a little bit of a teaser trailer here for A Quiet Place Part 2 coming out next year. March 20th, 2020 is the release date. The teaser really is nothing. It's the mom and her two kids walking through the woods. Same characters from the previous film, and they're walking through the woods very quietly. They come to the end of their little sand path, which the sand is supposed to help cover up any noise of them stepping on leaves or twigs or whatever. They come to the end of their path, and then they very hesitantly step off of it onto the grass, and that's it. That's literally all we see. So uncharted territory for them, I guess. We'll see what's going on. I don't know.
I liked A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
I know some people are kind of torn. Like Randy kind of put up a good fight against it a little bit, and his disappointments, and I understood them. But I like, in a general sense, in my mind, like I enjoyed A Quiet Place, and I'm fine that they're making a sequel. I was kind of like opposed to, I think originally, like, oh, it doesn't, but like, you know, like, oh, Jim, he handled it fine, so I'll give him his room. You know, like, hey, you know, I feel like he earned it at least. I am just kind of generally disappointed to see like the same characters, because the way that the last one ended, I feel like they like kind of unlocked the puzzle. It's like, oh, you solved the problem, and it was a little convenient, but I mean, you know, it worked logically or whatever, but it's just like, they're gonna need to like intrigue me a little bit more. I think like
we have a little bit of information here. So this is John Krasinski is directing this as well, which I like that. And I don't know if he co-wrote this one like he did the last one. I assume that he did. But his wife, Emily Blunt, coming back, and then the two kids, same actors, coming back. We're going to get a full trailer for this on New Year's Day, by the way, so look forward to that. But the sequel apparently picks up right after the events of the first movie, and the family is, I guess, quickly forced to realize that the creatures that hunt only by sound aren't the only threats among them. So
yeah,
I guess they're going to be new creatures that maybe they're going to be like Trimmer style, like heat vision creatures, or I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. And that's what you kind of expect out of this world building kind of deal. And that's fine. I hope they make it. I mean, you know, that's kind of like the basis of any kind of sequel. Like you got to make it a little bit bigger, or, you know, I don't know. So yeah, that's fine. Well, hopefully he can pull it off. We'll see. I don't know. A big part of me too is like Jim being a dad, you know, in the first one, and like, you know, his relationship with his family and his kids and stuff like that. So I don't know. We'll see.
Sad dad movie. Yeah.
Sad dad. Becky will love it.
Yeah.
Really get her going.
We got another trailer we checked out here. It's for Christopher Nolan's new movie. It's like a time bending movie called Tenet. It's got a release date of July 17th, 2020. I forgot Chris Nolan directed Memento. This and Inception. This is like very much akin to those movies, or it seems that way.
Yeah. Anyways. Like it look like there are shots where I'm like, this looks like Inception.
Yeah. It's people like kind of gliding through the air with like long leaps. You're like, this looks very familiar.
There's like several like heisty like kind of looking scenes, and like just everybody's like dressed up all nice, like in their suits. They got their guns, and like it's very much in the same. And then but like then weird shit kind of happens around them. Driving in an SUV, there's a car chasing. Like there's like a lot of beats that look like Inception. I actually have never seen Memento.
Memento is baller as hell. I like it a lot.
What is that?
So the movie has been described as an action epic revolving around international espionage, time travel, and evolution. So that's kind of a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the time travel thing is like pretty clear. There's a couple scenes from the trailer where like oh my god, like what happened here? And he's like,
they kind of see things. Yeah, they see things before they happen, I guess. I don't know. Could
Minority
be cool.
Report remake.
Yeah.
I'm just
no. I mean, it's Nolan has made some banger ass movies, and even if they're not like my favorites, I recognize like how well crafted they are and how well written they are. And like Inception is a movie I enjoyed, but I don't really ever need to see it again. You know?
Yeah, I would like. I hold it in high regards, like in my mind. But yeah, I guess like if somebody wanted to throw it on, I wouldn't like be opposed to it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And then he did that. So he's done like a dream movie. He's done like a space movie. What's Memento about? I don't even know.
It's just about this guy who he doesn't have his memory like chops time up in a way to where like it's non-linear. And there's like, man, I haven't seen it in years, so I'm trying to remember honestly myself. But he like he's like trying to solve a murder or something like that, and it's all he's just his memory is very spotty, and it's like a huge issue.
Okay, so like memory, dreams, time, space. Yeah,
we're like piecing the events together in real time as he is, but it's all out of sequence.
And Batman.
Yeah, the Batman. Finally, we got one more trailer we checked out. It's for this new Elijah Wood starring movie. It's called Come to Daddy. It's going to be a horror comedy that follows Elijah Wood, who is in his 30s, and he travels to a remote cabin to reconnect with his estranged father. Release date for this is going to be February 7th, 2020. It's going to get a small theatrical release, and then it's going to be on VOD as well, same day. I don't know, man. What'd you think about this trailer?
I kind of like the setting. It's like a little like tropical. He's got like kind of a beachy hut, and that's kind of like our scene. You know, we're from Florida, and you kind of see some of that. So I was kind of digging on that a little bit. Like for a horror movie, we talked about how like Midsummer had like a lot of pastels, and it felt like Eastery and stuff like that. It's cool to like kind of get this like summery, beachy horror vibe out there. I will say though, like I've brought up Elijah Wood before. I know the dude does like a lot of good things for horror and stuff, but there's something, man. Like my Cooter radar like goes off with that guy. And the way he like appears in this movie is kind of the way I've always just kind of pictured him. He's got this kind of like pedo stash rocking and this kind of like creepy, like weird bowl cut thing. It almost looks like how John Travolta looks in that like
Fanatic movie
where he's playing. Yeah, Fanatic movie. That's what it made me think of. And I was just like, Juice is calling it first. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he's a wonderful guy. But I swear to God, one day, some weird sexually deviant like shit is gonna come out about Elijah Wood, and I'm like gonna call it now. I gotta call it now.
Man.
Something's off about that guy. Something. I don't know what it is. It's my sixth sense, my Cooter radar, but something's weird about that guy.
Don't forget, among all the great things that he has done for horror and like science fiction and fantasy, he voiced Wirt in Over the Garden Wall, man.
Dude, something's wrong with that guy.
Nah,
I don't know.
I don't see it. Maybe I'm blinded
Rob,
by all the dope shit he does.
I'm your best friend, for God's sakes. I mean, I'm a terrible person. Your judge of character is flawed,
it's all
Bob.
Fucked up. Oh my God. Incorrect, sir. You are not terrible, and neither is Elijah Wood. Elijah Wood is the fucking shit.
I disagree. Something's wrong with that guy.
Nah, I don't see it. I think you're wrong. I'll stand by Elijah Wood any day. Any day. I don't know. This movie looks interesting. Apparently, it's getting some decent reviews. It's been hitting the festival circuit a little bit, and I guess it's been a bit of a crowd pleaser. Honestly, if it's a horror movie with Elijah Wood, I'm gonna watch it.
I'd watch it. Like, I'm intrigued by it. It's just anytime I see Elijah Wood, like, and it's probably good that he plays like kind of like skeezy like roles sometimes, because I feel like that fits him as like a person. So it's not hard for me to like believe a character like that. Like, he was like the hero. Or if he was like the hero or something, I'd be like, no, not fucking Elijah Wood. But like, if he's like some like skeevy weirdo, then yeah.
Have you seen I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore? I think is what it's called. It's on Netflix original.
I don't think so. No.
I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. It's fucking baller. It's a really great, like, kind of like whodunit / comedy movie. I don't know. Elijah Wood is in it. He plays like a strange like metalhead guy who's also like kind of into like martial arts. And his neighbor is this girl whose house gets broken into, and she kind of teams up with him to try and find out who stole her laptop, and it kind of like spirals out of control. But it's really enjoyable. It's pretty funny. I recommend that if you want some Elijah Wood in your life. Check it out on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all the news I have currently. We don't have any voicemails again. But if you're listening and you would like to call in and leave us a voicemail to be played on the show, you can hit us up at 904-638-3231. I kind of think, so we've been like posing questions on occasion for our Hotline Scream segment for people to call in and leave voicemails. Next show we record is going to be the last show of the year. I'm going to pose a question here for you to call in over the next week. Call in and let us know like what was the best or what was your favorite like straight chilling moment of the year. We've done a ton of different shit over the year, a ton of different shows. We've hosted some live events. We've hosted some watch parties. We started the Bracket of Blood, the Slack.
Started some new segments,
the YouTube,
Bob's Blu Rays,
new
jet ski.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Do you like to know how many Blu Rays Bob buys a month?
Because you're gonna, now you know. Yeah, I don't know. Just call in and let us know what stood out to you. And I don't know. We like hearing from you guys. Holler at us 904-638-3231.
Holla, let us know how much we suck and what we can do better, please.
That too, yeah. You guys are dumb. Later. So, one thing left to do on the show. It is time to save a life.
Where did Bob go wrong? Were he and his friends sifting way too long through those Blu-ray bins? And it gets worse, he'll have no jet ski, wasting all his dough on those DVDs.
All right, Justin, what are we doing?
Bob, you waste all your dough on those DVDs. And this segment, it's becoming a little bittersweet as we head toward the end.
Yeah.
This is a segment we started this year, this summer, around June. We're talking Bob's Blu Rays. Bob loves to buy physical media. He's a big advocate for it. We thought Bob's purchases were a little excessive, and we wanted to know exactly how much Bob was buying. So we've been tracking on a weekly basis what Bob buys, but it can't go on forever. And actually, I think next week is going to be our last episode of the year. And I think we're going to have a lot of big reveals. At least, I know it's ending. It's going to come to a close, but I feel like there's a lot of things that are going to be revealed that'll feel like it wraps up nice. Our goal is to see, could Bob have just purchased a jet ski had he saved his Blu-ray money? There might be some sort of announcement next week about this jet ski.
Maybe.
Also, I will reveal everything. Rob, I actually will tell you, last night I was spending time going back and double checking the numbers. I was going through the episodes because I'm coming into town, Bob. I'm going to head into the belly of the beast to record our last episode. And I had to have everything straight, ready to go. So I've got the numbers here. I'm ready to update them for today. Bob, I know we just did a episode a few days ago. So I got to ask you, maybe almost for the last time, do you have a stack today? Have you purchased something in the past 3 days? And are you going to blow my nuts away with how much you purchased in the past 3 days?
I got a little something here.
All right, Bob.
Yeah,
give it to me. Oh, you are currently at it's December 20th. So far this month, you've purchased 23. You're up to 23 Blu-rays that you've purchased. Tell me what you got today, Bob.
Here you go. It's on the YouTube there.
So a bit of a surprise. I feel like I can actually get behind this purchase. YouTube exclusive. It was the Fly collection.
Yep.
I hope it's got the Cronenberg 80s.
It does.
Goldblum in there.
It's,
okay, thank God.
So yeah, the Fly.
So there looks like there's a lot of movies in there, though,
Yeah.
Bob. How many films come in that collection?
So it's a 5-movie collection. It's got The Fly, Return of the Fly, and The Curse of the Fly, which those 3 are the original Vincent Price films. And then it's also got the Cronenberg, The Fly from the 80s, and The Fly 2.
Okay.
All the Fly movies there in one collection. Put out by Scream Factory this month. I haven't gotten into the movies yet. I've actually only ever seen the Cronenberg Fly. I haven't seen the Vincent Price movies or the Fly 2, which I've heard the Fly 2 is pretty dope, actually. And
I've seen like some scenes from it because I really enjoy the Fly so much. I think they get like lean heavily into like the crazy like effects with like some fucked up. I think there's like a dog or no, I don't know. There's something that like gets turned into some weird shit. I think they lean heavily into that. So I might enjoy it. Might be good.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into it for sure. I like the 80s practical effects, and I'm also very much a fan of Vincent Price. So I'm all the above. I'm down. So
that actually sounds like a good purchase, Bob.
Finally got your approval.
It did bump your total for the month up to 28. So Bob, a close friend of mine once said that 30 films in a month, it was an insane amount of Blu Ray purchases. You're on the edge, Bob. You're on the 20th and you're sitting at 28. So you're hitting insane numbers, Bob.
This is like kind of a fun segment for me. It's also kind of horrible because I am
wait till we get to the last episode.
I actually don't want to do that. Just be like, yeah, you buy a lot of shit, man. So maybe chill
Bob,
out.
we got to give the people what they need. We need to know about the jet ski. We need to know everything. So I've got the numbers, Bob. I'm ready to go.
Oh. Well, I support the shit I believe in, I guess. Wait. At least there's that.
Yeah.
And I'm not living on the street.
And when I come to record that last episode, I'm going to take a lot of pictures of your collection. The people need to see.
When Randy came into town, that was literally the first thing he did when he walked into my house.
Let me see the collection.
He walked straight over there and started taking pictures of my shit. I was like, damn, dude, it's nice to see you. God.
Oh, Randy knows.
Yeah.
It's all going to be revealed next episode. Tune in. Could Bob have purchased a jet ski this year had he just saved his money? A straight chilling jet ski? Will he be forced to sell off his Blu-ray collection in order to buy a straight chillin' jet ski? Possibly. Will we finally get that jet ski sponsorship? Find out next week on Straight Chillin'.
Tune in next week. Same time, same channel. Straight Chillin'.
Man, Bob, how are we ever going to replace this segment? It's become a fan favorite.
I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe there's
Bob just
something.
Can't take it anymore, though. The shame, it's too much for him to take.
Maybe there's something,
which was the point, and yet it hasn't curbed his tendencies at all. In fact, he might be trying to turn his negative into a positive.
Maybe.
The druggie's becoming the drug dealer.
You've created a monster. Maybe.
We'll find out next week.
We'll find out.
Oh, no. I'm just trying to expose you, Bob.
No, I am definitely seen at this point. We've been doing this for months. My ass is seen.
Yeah. I think November, December, Bob, would have shocked June and July, Bob. I don't think you quite knew the extent of your disease.
It's true. I don't know myself.
You don't.
That's going to do it for us this week here at Straight Chilling. We're going to be back next week with the final show of 2019. We're going to be talking about our top 10 movies of 2019. I always get a kick out of doing these top 10 lists every year. It's so much fun, and it makes it all the better that like you guys are in town this year, both of you, and we'll be able to do it in person.
Let me go ahead and tease. I'm already teasing the jet ski.
Yeah.
This is the first time, I don't know if we've realized it or not, this is the first time that Bob, Soju, and Randy have been in a room together in over 2 years.
Yeah, it's true.
We've been doing this podcast for 5 years, for over 2 years. So probably since a lot of people have been listening, we got a big number of boosts in like the past like year and a half. We have not even been in the same room.
Yeah, man.
Over 2 years. Also, the last time we did last year's top 10, me and Bob got wasted.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's bringing their like alcohol of choice. So this might turn into a shitty show.
Yeah.
And by shitty, I mean amazing.
It's going to be a thing. I think Randy has a bit of a surprise, and yeah, it's going to be a good time. I can't wait. I cannot wait. It's going to be great. So until next week, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at str8_chilling. On Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. Send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. And until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.